I didn't just lose my job. I lost my dignity, my savings, and my father's final gift. Most people get a pink slip and a handshake, but my boss, Miller, decided to frame me for embezzlement to cover his own gambling debts. I walked out of that office in handcuffs while he smirked from the balcony, sipping a double espresso he bought with my stolen commissions. I spent 3 years at Elite Property Solutions. I was the guy who stayed until 9 p.m., the guy who knew every line of the tax code, and the guy who trusted Miller when he asked me to streamline certain offshore accounts. When the auditors arrived, the paper trail led straight to my login credentials. The charges didn't stick. My lawyer was better than Miller anticipated, but the damage was done. I was blacklisted in the industry, and Miller used the missing funds to buy out my equity in the firm for pennies on the dollar. He even took my father's vintage 1967 Rolex, which I'd put up as collateral during a lean month. I spent 6 months in a dark apartment, eating ramen and staring at the ceiling. Then, I remembered something. Miller wasn't just greedy. He was technologically illiterate. He thought a cloud was something that ruined his golf game. I didn't sue him. That's what he expected. Instead, I took a job as a consultant for a high-end commercial HVAC company. It sounds boring, but in the world of corporate real estate, the person who controls the thermostat controls the soul of the building. Miller was expanding. He bought a massive glass-walled boutique office in the city. He wanted it to be his monument. Through my new job, I spent 4 months carefully bidding on the maintenance contract for his new building. I used a shell company name he wouldn't recognize. I won the bid because I was the cheapest. Why? Because I didn't want his money. I wanted his peace of mind. The system I installed was state-of-the-art. It was fully integrated with the building's smart features, lights, security, and the precision climate control for his executive vault, where he kept his wine collection and, more importantly, his stolen watches. I waited for the hottest week of July. It started small. On Monday, his office was 62 degrees. He called complaining his fingers were numb. I fixed it remotely. On Tuesday, it was 85 degrees. He was sweating through his $3,000 suits. "Fix it, you incompetent moron," he screamed over the phone to my dispatcher. "We're trying, Mr. Miller," I whispered into my headset, though he couldn't hear me. "We're just calibrating the sensors." By Thursday, Miller was erratic. He had a massive meeting with Japanese investors to secure a $20 million development loan. This was his make-or-break moment. I showed up in person, wearing a face mask, a low-profile hat, and a heavy utility vest. I walked right past him into the server room. He was too busy wiping sweat off his forehead to notice. The guy he'd framed a year ago. I didn't break anything. I just set a very specific script to trigger at 2 p.m. As the investors sat down in the glass boardroom, the blinds began to cycle. Up, down, up, down. Then, the safety audio test triggered. A piercing, low-frequency hum filled the room. Not loud enough to be an alarm, but just enough to give everyone a splitting headache within 10 minutes. Miller snapped. "What is happening? Turn it off!" He stormed into the hallway and saw me standing by the main control panel. I took off my mask. "Hey, Miller, it's a bit stuffy in here, isn't it?" His face went from flushed red to a ghostly, sickly white. You're the contractor? I'll have you arrested for sabotage." "Sabotage?" I laughed, leaning against the wall. "The logs show a system glitch caused by, let's see, improper wiring in the executive vault. The same vault where you're keeping a Rolex that doesn't belong to you." "Get out," he hissed, glancing nervously at the boardroom where the investors were looking through the glass in confusion. "I'm leaving," I said calmly. "But here's the thing. I've already sent a maintenance report to your investors. It includes the energy logs, the humidity fluctuations that just ruined your $50,000 wine collection, and a few interesting PDFs I found on your local network while syncing the thermostats. You really shouldn't keep your gambling debt. Spreadsheets on a drive connected to the building's IoT. The investors didn't just walk out. They filed a suspicious activity report. When the fraud investigators looked into the glitchy server, they found the backdoor Miller used to frame me. He had been so confident he'd never deleted the original transfer logs. He'd just hidden them in a folder labeled HVAC schematics. The firm collapsed. Miller was forced to sell the building at a massive loss to cover his debts. I didn't get my job back, and I didn't want it. But yesterday, a package arrived at my door. It was a courier-delivered box from a court-appointed liquidator. Inside was my father's 1967 Rolex ticking perfectly. I checked the temperature in my house. It was a perfect 72 degrees. Living well is the best revenge, but making sure they lose sleep is a very close second. Would you like me to write a follow-up story where the narrator helps the investors recover their funds?